Hello my friends, my name is Rich and welcome to Greatest Rock and Metal. On Greatest Rock and Metal I talk about what are for me the greatest bands, albums, gigs in rock and metal, based on listening to thousands of albums and going to hundreds of gigs over many years. If you enjoy what you see today, please press the red button to subscribe to the channel. It's free, doesn't cost any money, and will only take a minute or two to do so. Thank you very much for watching, and today you will be watching me talk about the band Alice in Chains. A band that is one of the, what we might call the famous four from the grunge era of rock music that took a hold in the early 90s. The other ones being Pearl Jam, Nirvana and Soundgarden. They were the big four to come out of the grunge era. You could maybe throw in Stone Temple Pilots, but they're not thrown in as much for the simple reason that they didn't come from the Seattle area, and those four bands that I just mentioned were based in the Seattle area in northwestern America. So today, Alice in Chains. My introduction to Alice in Chains came in 1990 with the single Man in the Box that was taken from the 1990 album Facelift. A brilliant song, a big chunky riff, and then very unique vocals. We get this wow, 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 vocal and guitar sound coming through, and then into the main vocals themselves. And throughout many Alice in Chains songs, we get these brilliant vocal harmonies, dual vocal harmonies between singer Lane Staley and guitarist Jerry Cantrell. A real feature of Alice in Chains music, and a great feature of Alice in Chains music. Something that makes them sound so unique and hence so successful. So when I heard that Man in the Box single, I was like, wow, this is a great new band. I need to find out more about this band. And I did. And it led me to find out that they were formed in 1987, so just a few years earlier. And they had created a real mixture of kind of like Black Sabbath sound and early metal, and they've taken in some punk influences as well, and almost as well there's some classical construction elements to their songs too. And we got in some parts we got the thrashier sound of maybe Metallica mixed in there as well. So a great mix. But for me, they were more of a metal band than what's termed a grunge band, for sure. And it's no coincidence today that most of the bands that they tour with are based around more of a metal scene than an alternative rock scene that some of the grunge bands have gone off being more recognized with. So the band then released a follow-up album in 1992, and the album Dirt, and that is going to be the featured album today, so we'll come back to that one. Unfortunately, the band had a lot of problems with drug addiction, and by about 1994, the band was really starting to struggle to be able to play gigs because of their singer Lane Staley's issues with drug addiction and becoming pretty much a recluse. And by 1996, it was felt that the band was pretty much over, although there was no official announcement to that effect. In 2002, it was announced that Lane Staley, the singer, had died from a drug overdose. And it was another 4 years before we were to hear anything again from Alice in Chains conclusively in terms of reuniting or reigniting, I should say, the band again, which they did in 2006, recruiting a new singer by the name of William Duvall. And then going on as they do today. They've released 3 studio albums in that time with William Duvall as their singer, and hopefully they will continue on into the future. One thing to say about Alice in Chains is discography. Now, usually at the end of one of my episodes, I will choose my favourite 4 albums, studio albums by a band. But the Alice in Chains discography, despite the band being in existence now for well over 30 years, there's a real lack of studio material from the band. They've only created 6 studio albums and a couple of studio EPs. So I'm not going to choose a favourite 4 at the end. But what I am going to do is focus today on this album, Dirt. This is a truly brilliant album. I would usually choose my favourite 4 tracks from an album, and I will still do that today in terms of choosing 4 tracks. This is so tough. It's not even close to there being a bad song on this album. It is a truly brilliant, brilliant album. Not just on a musical point of view or on a vocal point of view, but lyrically as well. Lane Staley really lets us in to his life with his lyrics on this album. Most of the songs are about his drug addiction issues, and it's really fascinating. Yeah, horrible word to say, I guess, for someone who's basically killing himself from drug addiction. But it is fascinating reading the lyrics and really getting a feel for what drug addiction at the level that he has it is like. And I don't think lyrically there is a more truthful album that I have come across in terms of really getting to the heart of how somebody feels and the pain. You can feel the pain in the lyrics that the guy is going through in dealing with his drug addiction. Very, very honest account of his life. And the music that's been created to go along with these lyrics is just fantastic. Like I said, every song is well constructed. There's great choruses and melodies, a load of riffs in there, and a great variety in terms of the music as well. And you can see that across the 4 of my favourites that I picked on here. And like I say, I could have picked any one of them. And if you ask me tomorrow what my favourite 4 is, it could well be different. But today I'm going to pick these tracks. And they start with the first track that starts the album, Them Bones. This is a real wake-up call to start an album. It's like the needle hits or the CD laser clicks and it's straight in with this massive riff and this shout from Staley of a really loud introduction. When I first put it on, I remember I physically jumped back and turned the volume down because it was like brutal, absolutely brutal. And it continues throughout the song, and it's a fantastic song. Very unique sounding, I thought, at the time, and still today, to be honest. I can't think of anything else I've heard that's quite like it. and you got those superb harmony vocals again from Staley and Cantrell. Brilliant start to an album, absolutely brilliant. The next track I will pick is a more acoustic based song, a song called Rooster, and it's about the father of the guitarist, the lead guitarist and co-singer Jerry Cantrell. His father was in the military, and again a very honest reflection on his father and his relationship with his father, or his thoughts about his father. Great song, and like I say, mainly kind of a acoustic-y based, but then as we get to the chorus, you get this big build up as well in the guitars. Fantastic. Great video that goes along with that track as well. The next track I will pick, it's not one actually that would normally be on many people's picks, and I've always been really drawn to this track. The track is Hate to Feel. Now, what I most love about this particular track is the guitar work. It's got really haunting type of guitar work to it, and I also love it almost like a staccato effect. What the fuck in my play? To some of the singing, it just again unique, and that's one of the things about Alice in Chains and this particular album. There was it got such a unique sound, and it's no surprise that they've been as successful as they have. In fact, they should have been more successful in my opinion. Of the big four of the grunge that we were talking about, they've been the least successful commercially, but artistically way up there, without any shadow of a doubt. And the fourth track that I would choose from this album is the track Angry Chair. Sitting on my angry chair. I just have this picture in my head of what an angry chair is. I have a young son, and he often gets very angry, as young kids do. And in fact, I am sitting on his chair, and the thought of him having an angry chair, when he gets angry, could send him to his angry chair. And wouldn't it be great is that as he's sitting down on it, the sitting on my angry chair, if I could some way set up a program so as he sits on it, the music kicks in and starts, it'd be brilliant. But unfortunately, I have no electronic knowledge to be able to create such a thing. Very sad. Maybe one of you guys out there can do it for us. Okay, so that is my favourite four from the amazing Dirt album. Let's take a little break and have a look at the Dirt album in Rock Albums by the Sea. Hope you enjoyed that. So, Alice in Chains live. The first time I got to see Alice in Chains live was actually on the tour for the Dirt album. It was in 1993 at Brixton Academy in London. The support bands that day were the brilliant UK band called the Wild Hearts. If you don't know about the Wild Hearts, check them out, and I'll also be doing a future episode about them for sure. And also a band called Clawfinger, who were like a rap metal band at the time. I know the Wild Hearts are still going today. I'm not sure about Clawfinger. I don't know much about them, to be honest. But Alice in Chains. What was the price of the ticket? £10 to see Alice in Chains and the Wild Hearts. Wow, bargain. And actually Clawfinger were very good, I seem to remember. Just wasn't quite my cup of tea music-wise. Although I do like rap rock. Didn't quite get into Clawfinger. Anyway, we're here to talk about Alice in Chains. Well, what a start to a show. That's the one thing that I really remember about this show. The start to the show. The front of the stage was covered in like a huge rope netting. And the band come on. And rather than kicking it in big time with a track like Them Bones, for example, they actually start with a slow acoustic song that they do called Nutshell. And it was actually a great way to start the concert. And you've got Lane Staley, the singer, like cavorting and hanging off the rope netting and taunting the audience. It was a really brilliant start to the show. And then they kick into the next song, big riff with the song Godsmack from the Dirt album. And in fact, they played all of the Dirt album apart from the acoustic track Down in a Hole. They also played a couple of tracks from the Facelift album, but surprisingly, no Man in a Box, the big hit single. They stayed away from that. They also played a couple of new songs that had appeared on a movie soundtrack. It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, I think it was, The Last Action Hero. And they played a couple of songs that they had created for that album. Two very good songs, actually, they are. But as I say, the bulk of the material played that night was from the Dirt album. And although it would have been nice to have heard maybe a couple more from Facelift, and certainly to have heard Man in a Box, when you've got an album as strong as that is, it was no problem at all to have the majority of the show made up of tracks from it. And it was again great atmosphere. Brixton Academy is a superb place to see gigs. And this was the first real big gig by Alice in Chains in the UK. They'd done a few club shows and a support tour before. I think they did some support dates with Megadeth around Europe and the UK. But this was their first major headline show. And what a show it was. And I'm so lucky to have been able to see the band with Lane Staley as their singer, because he really was a hypnotic, engaging frontman. Didn't really talk to the crowd very much, but it was just the way he was, and obviously those amazing vocals of his. Sadly missed having him as the singer, even though William DuVall does a great job. He would say himself he could never be Lane Staley. So, brilliant gig to have attended, to being able to see live most of what is an amazing album. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed listening to my thoughts on Alice in Chains and the Dirt album and tour. If you have, please press the red button to subscribe to see future episodes of Greatest Rock and Metal. Until next time, as always, remember, we rock!